Good afternoon, welcome to the UK Column Live. It's 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 21st of November 2012. Myself and Mike Robinson's with me today. This is the first time for us.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
No, we've done this before.
Oh, have we? Okay,
yes.
my mistake. Good morning, Mike.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Just want to say the weather here in Plymouth, as we haven't got Brian here to give it his special take. The weather is sunny. A lot of flooding locally last night, which caused many train delays and cancellations. So we're going to jump straight in with my story, which disgusted me a little bit this morning. Hillary Clinton has come out and said the American commitment to Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering. That is why we believe it is essential to de-escalate the situation in Gaza. In the days ahead, the United States will work with our partners here in Israel and across the region toward an outcome that bolsters security for the people of Israel, improves conditions for the people of Gaza, yeah, right, and moves towards a comprehensive peace for all people in the region. Just a few little facts here. Israel has conducted more than 1,450 aerial and sea attacks against the Gaza Strip since November the 14th. Gaza has been in blockade since June 2007, a situation that has caused a decline in the standard of living, unprecedented levels of unemployment and unrelenting poverty. And the apartheid regime of Israel denies about 1.7 million people in Gaza their basic rights, such as freedom of movement, jobs that pay proper wages, and adequate healthcare and education. And I think it's disgusting. Your thoughts, Mike?
It's interesting that Hillary Clinton is saying that the Americans will help Israel sort out the problems. This undoubtedly is why they have sent the Marines into the Eastern Mediterranean to evacuate a lot of Americans. They clearly feel that their opportunities for helping Israel settle things down are limited. But anyway, Hillary, by the way, is just about to is resigning as Secretary of State.
And when's she looking at doing that?
Well, January, I believe, is when she finishes.
And future role to be?
Well, she's already started her presidential campaign for 2016.
Oh no!
Right, so apparently she's likely to be replaced by Susan Rice, another upstanding member of the American elite. Nice.
I just want to point out, apparently Israel has called up about 75,000 army reservists and is now preparing to launch a ground invasion on the Gaza Strip, which has been under an Israeli blockade for the last 5 years.
Well, there's quite a bit of talk about this being linked to the Israeli elections.
Yeah.
The Israeli elections in the new year taking place early, and there's also talk about them taking place early so they can get the elections out of the way in preparation for a ground attack on Iran. So it's all escalating quite nicely in the Middle East at the moment.
Yeah.
And
then, of course, we're going to have China and Russia coming in, and then, as we pointed out yesterday, Obama's been in Burma, which sits quite nicely.
Well, let's see how that plays out, but it's not looking good in the Middle East. The next one then is drones.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, there was, I can't remember what role he was serving, but there was an American government official on Radio 4 this morning talking about his disappointment at the fact that Gary McKinnon was not extradited. But as part of that interview, he was talking about, he was asked quite straight out by the presenter how America justifies extrajudicial killings or killings in foreign countries, and he basically said, "Well, we'll do anything that we believe is necessary to look after American interests."
There's been so many people killed already by these drone attacks, Pakistan in particular.
Well, that's right. So there is a campaign running in the States to protest against these drone attacks, and the Pentagon official, the Pentagon officer who is in charge of the drone attacks has been suffering from the protests, so he's decided to go to court, and he's got an injunction against these people that are protesting, and under the order the activists will be arrested and could face up to 7 years in prison if they demonstrate or hold any kind of demonstrations anywhere near the individual who's Colonel Earl A. Evans, by the way.
Nice democratic country there.
Yes. So They're also prohibited from going anywhere near the man's home. We're talking about Evans here, the guy who's in charge of these drone attacks. So the activists are prevented from going near his home or school. I presume that means his children's school. That's fair enough. But they should be allowed to demonstrate outside the gates of the army, the military base that these attacks are being run from. But that has been prevented. So that seems like another constitutional right. The right to free protest is being blocked away, by the judiciary in the States. Sorry, I'm just trying to produce this program and talk at the same time, so it does get a bit confusing sometimes. Right, so the next article then, this is from the Scotsman. This is from a guy called Jim Gallagher, who's asking the question, what about England? And he's saying that Scotland will soon have a referendum about independence, obviously, but the rest of Britain will have no say in the matter. He's saying not all countries would take such a relaxed attitude as we are about the fact that Scotland and only the Scottish people are getting a say in this. Spain regards the unity of the state as a constitutional principle, and so a Catalan referendum is constitutionally forbidden. In Britain, just under a century ago, there were plenty of voices for resisting Irish independence by force. Wiser heads prevailed, he says. Why is this? Has Britain become so post-imperial that it's post-nation state as well? Well, yes, he's hit the nail on the head. We've moved beyond the sort of idea of the British Empire of being having to own 3/4 of the country, 3/4 of the planet. We've moved to this away from the idea of the nation state, which is considered an outpost of the British Empire. We then had a period of the nation state which was considered independent, even though they weren't, and we're now moving past that to a post-nation state world where really it's just corporatized and there's no idea of national sovereignty. So that's exactly what's going on. We know very well that the Scottish are not going to be getting any kind of independence. No. There's simply going to be another region of Europe, so that's it. You hit the nail on the head, but it should have been obvious.
Yeah, should have been.
Right.
Ooh.
Right, we're back onto the lovely subject. Of children, and Sir Cyril Smith, another person who is no longer with us, but is being accused of crimes against children, and these allegations are being brought. I mean, people are calling this man a 29-stone bully who imposed himself on terrified boys at a care home in his Rochdale constituency. He was also claimed to have reduced them to quivering wrecks, according to the Telegraph. So another case like Savile that's coming out, but in this time again they're constantly picking on historic cases. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be looking at historic cases. We absolutely should, but there's this kind of activity is still going on, and really we should be looking at as a priority what's going on today and stopping it today. So,
but it's going to put people off, I suppose, isn't it? Coming forward now after what happened to Measham, is it Measham?
Well, that may be part of the reason that was done, to try and prevent that. But it does bring us on to the next article, which is comments from Jan Leeming about Dave Lee Travis. Now, I personally don't think that Dave Lee Travis has done anything particularly wrong. But the interesting part of this article was Jan Leeming's comments about Jimmy Savile, because she said that, just like others have said, that she always thought he was creepy. That's her quote, creepy. She said that she has every sympathy with the people whose lives he ruined, but she wonders why so many are, quote, coming out of the woodwork now to make their accusations. And she said, is it in hope of financial reward?
That's disgusting.
And I find that a pretty disgusting comment, because basically the key point here is that these people have not suddenly just come out of the woodwork. People have been talking about Jimmy Savile for decades.
Well, absolutely.
But the mainstream media, or the corporate media, whatever you want to call it, has refused to give these people airtime. And so the allegations were kept under the rug. And it's a very important point for people to appreciate, I believe, about the media. It's just as important the things that they don't report as the things that they do. And when we see these stories appear, you kind of get the feeling that or you ask the question, why is it happening at this point? Because it has been going on for decades, as I say, and it's been kept under the rug. So Ms. Leeming, I do question your thoughts on this. It may be that you're being slightly misrepresented by the press, but
let's hope so.
Yeah. Next of all, we've got this article in the Telegraph, and you had actually.
I found it in the Mail, but at first it was a bit misleading. But what I've got picked up in the Mail, and I'll just read the first part of the headline. The author of the report into gang sex abuse today hit back at government criticism of her findings that there was no particular problem among Asian groups. The study by Deputy Children's Commissioner Sue Belovich, I think that's how you pronounce it, came to the controversial conclusion, despite figures in her own report revealing that more than a quarter of perpetrators of gang-based child abuse known to the authorities are Asian. Senior Whitehall figures have branded the report hysterically and highly emotional, and last night government source said it was difficult to overstate the contempt with which ministers viewed the report's conclusion. NSPCC said the report exposed the danger of turning a blind eye to the ethnicity of abusers. She's also blamed police forces and councils for failing to collect information on the race and faith of perpetrators. Now, Brian's been saying for many years, especially in light of Oxford and Cherwell, there was the big thing around Oxford that this group of Asian men had been picked up under Operation Bullfinch, but not looking at the bigger picture where there were white abusers and abuse going on in Oxford in that same area, and nothing has been done about it, and nothing's been brought up in the press about it.
Well, I mean, our position on this absolutely is that the paedophilia, child exploitation, child trafficking, this goes right across every colour, creed, across every religion, across, you know. So it is wrong to single out any particular body of society to attach this to, and in fact, we have said in the last issue of the column, and we've said in other places as well, that this is part of the sort of clash of civilizations type of operation to get whites fighting with Muslims.
Absolutely. Racial tensions.
Absolutely, it would be a mistake to fall for that gag. This lady is absolutely correct in what she says. She says that it is wrong to single out any particular section of society. She's absolutely right. But the other key thing that she says is, 16,000 children at risk of child sex exploitation at the moment. And what does Whitehall say? What does the government say?
Yeah.
She's being hysterical.
Yeah. And how many people turned up?
Well, now this picture is not actually from the debate, but it is indicative of the attendance at the child sex exploitation debate that we covered last week, that John Hemming spoke at. 650 MPs turn up for the circus of Prime Minister's questions, which is an absolute disgrace, represents this country, and I suppose it is an accurate representation of the clown-like behaviour of our government. But 650 MPs turn up for Prime Minister's questions, but when they have a debate about child sex exploitation, this is the kind of turnout that we get.
10, 12,
about that was what it was. It was about that. So yes, absolutely disgusting. So anybody in Whitehall that's suggesting that this lady was being hysterical really needs to get a grip. I think
definitely.
Okay. Now, McAlpine. This is really about Twitter, and I don't want to focus on McAlpine here. This is about Twitter. Again, he is talking about now asking not only his lawyers to harass the people on Twitter who didn't make any specific allegation against him. They simply highlighted the fact that his name was trending. He wants to now get the police to investigate Twitter gossips, as they're being called. He's particularly singling out Alan Davies and Sally Bercow. Now, I don't know whether you know this, but Sally Bercow's Twitter account was closed.
Oh, really? No, I didn't
last
know
night.
That. Right, okay.
It was apparently hacked, and I can't remember exactly what the message the hacker left, but it was along the lines of "you're an idiot" sort of thing. Yeah. But she's now closed her account on the advice, I believe, of her lawyers and her husband. She's
embarrassing him quite a bit at the moment, though, isn't she?
Yes, but she is doing her job in the sense that she's making these silly tweets. This is then being used by the authorities to bring disrepute on Twitter as a platform.
Yeah.
And of course, Twitter is just a platform where people publish their opinions. It's the opinions of the individuals that count, not the platform that it's on.
Yeah.
The reason that the government is scared of Twitter is because it spreads the information so quickly, and it is impossible for them to contain it. And that's why they don't like Twitter, and that's why they want Twitter and Facebook shut down.
Yeah, but then hang on, just with Facebook, they're allowing people to apply for passports using their Facebook logins and things like this, though. So maybe they...
Yes, but they want control of Facebook. They want...
Yes,
they don't... Right? So it's not... Facebook is great for them because it allows them to track who's connected to who.
Yeah.
All the networks are... It's a massive intelligence gathering platform for the intelligence services. Brilliant for them. Yeah. But what they don't want is people using it for political activism.
Fair dues.
Right? So... Right. One of yours now?
One of mine, yeah. Politics UK website brought this one up. Police commissioners must consider private sector outsourcing to achieve election pledges. I mean, this is really just drumming it home that we're looking now at privatisation of the police force. This company, the British Security Industry Association, which is dedicated to police and public service section, have come out and said that more roles should be handed to the private sector. They are saying many police support roles that simply do not require a warranted police officer should come out to the private sector. And Robbie Calder, who is head of British Security Industry Association, has said at present our police officers perform far too many tasks that don't necessarily require the presence of a warranted officer. For example, managing cordons, area searches and taking witness statements. The introduction of a new area of regulation in the private security industry, including company registration, will hopefully serve to increase the police confidence in working alongside our industry.
Sorry, just run that by me again. Taking witness statements.
He says that
that's something that is not
the police
does
don't
not
need
require
to do that.
a warranted police officer.
No.
Right, that's very interesting,
isn't it? And I mean, look at the joke we had over the Olympics with G4S, and if this country does decide to give even more powers to this private security company, I think we're going to be in real trouble.
The other quote from this article that I thought was interesting was. Many of the election pledges made by PCC candidates would be difficult to achieve without outsourcing at least. So I mean, this is privatisation of the police. And any police officer out there must see that. And the police...
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a comment from the police on regards to that, actually.
Yeah.
Moving on, it's now your area.
Moving on to economics. So we've got... Greece, anger in Greece as the debt talks fail. So basically, the European Union is refusing to hand out the next tranche of money because Greece isn't killing its population fast enough.
They're not getting aid, though. I noticed there's been delay in getting aid to them as well.
It's Greece is being really hammered in every way at the moment. The Greek Prime Minister is criticising the European Union for it. He said that our partners, together with the IMF, also have to do what they've taken on to do. So he's basically whining that they're not doing what they said they would do and giving him the money that he needs. Basically, they will not get this money unless Greece cuts their debts to what is considered a sustainable level, and that basically means more and more austerity. So they're, again, as I've said many times, they are not trying to develop the Greek economy in order to produce their way out of the system. They're just trying to kill what's left of the country, and it's pretty despicable.
It is.
Moving on, Osborne plotting new pensions rate on highest earners with a benefits freeze to hit millions. So that's quite an interesting headline, because what the Mail's trying to do there is associate what most people consider to be a good thing, which would be to tax high earners more, and associate that with a freeze on benefits. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is that the government is scrambling around for money.
Right.
So Osborne is preparing to unveil new taxes to demonstrate that he is targeting the wealthy while mounting another squeeze on the huge welfare budget. So the question is, does that mean the ill and disabled? Well, we'll see in the autumn statement, which is in a couple of weeks. So while he is busy stealing money from high earners and from benefits recipients.
From everybody.
Yeah. David Cameron is agreeing to hand out more money to the EU.
Traitor.
And as Brian keeps mentioning, the EU that hasn't had any audited accounts for 18 years.
Nice.
So this is more malfeasance in public office, if not treason. And the National Audit Office, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong article. So this is going well today, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So he will sign up to increase Britain's net contribution to the EU at the next 7-year budget, regardless of the outcome of negotiations at a 2-day summit that opens in Brussels on Thursday. Well, that's good. We'll take more money from UK taxpayers and from pensions, and we'll hand it over to the EU. That's nice.
Mike, I just want to ask, somebody's put on, do we know how Iceland's getting on at the moment?
Iceland's getting on very well.
Iceland's thriving. Okay, lovely.
Absolutely.
And when are we looking at this carbon tax coming in? Because, I mean, when that hits us, we're going to be even more trouble, aren't we?
Well, I mean, these things are coming in slowly but surely,
Right.
and coming in under the carpet. You know, this is part of the reason why our electricity bills and gas prices are rising.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So there is a carbon element already on our utility bills. Okay, moving on. 41,000 tax dodge schemes that the HMRC can't crack. Well, tens of thousands of people, according to the Telegraph, are avoiding paying billions of pounds of tax through contrived schemes that the taxman has little idea of how to stop. Right, well, I say well done to those people, because Cameron's busy giving money to the EU, to an organisation. He's committing an offence doing that. He's giving money to the Syrian rebels. These guys are terrorists. So I say well done to anybody.
But not the big corporation. We're not saying well done to Starbucks, Amazon, Google and all the others. It's the smaller people who are managing.
Yeah, because this is quite a lot of these people are small business people that are getting involved in tax avoidance schemes. And you know, the publicity around this has been around high-profile celebrities that have been avoiding tax through offshore stuff, but that, I think that's the least of the HMRC's problems. Right. So next one, Vince Cable to announce Earn or Learn scheme for school leavers. So this is brilliant. You either get a job in Starbucks or you stay in education, and what the article's saying is that coalition plans make it more difficult for 18 to 21-year-olds, will make it more difficult to go straight on to benefits after school, and it'll instead require them to work or to study. Unfortunately, the government's doing nothing to provide any work for anybody. And
if they wanted to go and study, it's going to cost them a fortune anyway.
Well,
if they haven't got.
Indeed. What can you say?
I know.
Cable will say in his speech, the issue is this: the government has a clear vision for 16 to 18-year-olds, where we're raising the participation age and increasing support for English and maths. But for young people over 18, the offer is much less clear. There is generous educational support for some, while for others, financial support through the benefit system can actually prevent them from learning. Now, this is quite an interesting position because, as I mentioned on a previous show, I know somebody who is on Job Seekers Alliance at the moment and was told, but is also on a part-time course, which would give them much better prospects for the future. Yeah. And they were told in no uncertain terms they were going to have to come off their course and start working for Tesco in the Christmas rush. Yeah. And so I'm not quite sure how these two positions.
How they try and pump it. They scare people when they go into the job centre that if they haven't found a job that they want within 3 months, they will just be told to go and get any job. And the only jobs that are really coming up within the job centre are generally part-time.
Or yes, exactly. No consider for the future. Get them off the benefits roll immediately, and don't worry about any kind of long-term situation. Right, next, David Cameron is going to host the G8 summit, the next G8 summit in Fermanagh.
which is Northern
Ireland. Yes, yes.
Very, you gonna go?
Very picturesque part of Northern Ireland, and you know, I don't really have much to say about this other than I guess it's for the fishing.
Obviously,
because you know they're not doing anything to solve any problems globally, so it must be for the fishing.
Must be.
Yeah. Okay. The law on drugs is evidence-based. This article really, I just wanted to take one quote out of this and say, and talk about that for a second. It says, Brendan O'Neill has said, defying experts is now apparently the worst thing a politician can do. Every policy, whether it's on drugs, child rearing or the environment, must, it seems, be based on the best available evidence. And of course, the point to make here is, who are these people that are giving the government the best available evidence, if you want to use that quote? What he's describing is the move that we are making from a representative democracy where we elect our representatives and they're supposed to represent our views in Parliament, to a form of participatory democracy where, in fact, we pretend to elect people from one election to the next who are going to represent our views, but in fact all they do is represent the views of third parties to us. And so these experts that the government are using, I mean, it is a fair point. Government policy should be based on the best available evidence.
Why don't they look at some of the evidence with regards to the drug section to America, and you know how many states have the medicinal use of cannabis, and the healing and the medicinal use.
Well,
of it.
that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point is that the best available evidence is being taken from NGOs, people with vested interests, people that are financed by foundations, and we know all the usual suspects: the Esme Fairbairn Foundation, Joseph Rowntree Trust, all these kind of trusts and foundations. This is what big society is about, and that's why government is taking the so-called best available evidence from these people. Okay.
Vaccines. Well, Mike and I had a bit of a debate before we came on because I found an article which we're not going to run, but we looked into vaccines, and Mike wasn't sure were pregnant women getting vaccinated, so we had a look, and as we know, they've just introduced a whooping cough vaccine to give to pregnant women to protect the children. So we had a look on the NHS Choices website, and one of the questions there is the whooping vaccine safe in pregnancy? And their comments, the NHS comments are, there is no evidence to suggest that the vaccine is unsafe for mothers or baby if used in pregnancy. The vaccine, called Repifax, has not been clinically tested on pregnant women. For this reason, evidence on safety in pregnancy can be limited. A similar vaccine has been used in America in pregnant women, and there is no evidence of the risk of health to pregnant women or baby. Repivax has been used in the UK childhood immunisation programme since 2004 and has an excellent safety record. All the components in the vaccine have been given singly or in a combination to pregnant women without any evidence to harm the mother or the baby. So they answer that question, but then you go down the page to the bottom and the question is, why does the patient information leaflet for Repivax say that the vaccine should not be used in pregnant women? And the NHS's answer to this is because pregnant women are routinely excluded from clinical trials. It is not because there are any specific safety concerns or evidence of harm in pregnancy. So really, there has been no trials. It has not been tested on pregnant women. So I'd say it probably isn't safe.
Well, I find this a particularly interesting page on the NHS Choices website. They're saying there is no evidence to suggest that any harm can be brought by taking this vaccine while pregnant.
They haven't got any evidence.
They haven't got any evidence because there were no clinical trials, and there are no clinical trials because it's not safe to run clinical trials on pregnant women.
No. Make up your own mind, viewers. Make up your own mind. I will just say there was a Telegraph article a couple of months ago, and I'll just read out, I'll just grab a little piece of it. It says, women are generally advised not to take any medication.
Meditation?
Medication. Do meditation, that's cool. Medication that is not necessary while pregnant. So as we say.
Right.
Make up your own mind, make your
you know,
own choices.
you may ask why they're putting these chemicals into pregnant women, and then we can move on to the final article for today, actually, which is from the Mail, saying doctors withholding cancer treatment from dying cancer patients because they think it is futile to treat them. Now, you may have an opinion about modern medical cancer treatments or not, but the question here is the attitude of the doctors, and it's not so much. This is not a debate about the wheres and the whats and wherefores of chemotherapy and whatnot, but this is a trend within our hospitals at the moment, that we withhold treatment from people that are suffering.
Yeah.
And they are killing us.
Absolutely.
And this is a direct result of, we've got to take this from the point of view, from an economic standpoint, I believe. Our economy is collapsing. They're taking money out of the NHS. They're privatising it hand over fist.
Collapsing it.
Absolutely collapsing it. It's deliberate, and they're killing us.
Yeah.
This is euthanasia.
Yeah, nice.
No,
and we had all those. We had that list, didn't we? That doctors were told do not resuscitate on patients.
And that's a very nice subject to end on, isn't it?
I would just like to add that tonight is the UK Column Monthly meeting down at the George in Plimpton. If anyone local would like to attend, it'd be great to see you. And this weekend is the British Constitution Group's annual conference up in Stoke-on-Trent at the Moat House Hotel.
On Saturday.
On Saturday, bcggroup.
No, thebcgroup.org.uk.
Thank you. And tickets and information can be found there. Thank you.